I haven't did this in so long. You know what? I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do that right now so I don't forget. I'm gonna type up my whole entire book over again from scratch. Okay, so that was called Betsy, Eureka, Betsy 2, Captain Cookie, Last Hope, Something Baby, The Goat, and Duck. From Thomas and Friends. You're gonna retype the whole entire book. I'm gonna delete chapter 3 and read chapter 3 over again from scratch. God, that's gonna be a lot of work. Wait, since I don't have to do nothing, I'm better off doing that. I'm gonna do it right now. The camera's rolling, and I don't really care if the camera rolls, because that means I got... As long as the camera's rolling, I'm still making videos, which makes me a little happy. Today, this recording is the 22nd of March, which is technically Cecil's birthday. He has turned the beautiful age of 31, or technically 14. As this recording, there was supposed to be 2 premieres going on. I don't know if they're going to happen or not, because at this time, I cannot get into my YouTube channel. But still. I'm going to pause this, I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to do some book work today. So, yeah, since I'm screwed here or not. More shit to clean up. More shit to clean up. What's going to do the boxes again? Gotta go outside. Clean your boxes up today at noon, guys. Okay, today at noon, I got plans. Okay, at this time, guys, I got one thing to do. I gotta redo this book, and that's it. Now, by the time this recording comes out, this book is over 10 years old. And the time of this recording, guys, this book is over 10 years old now. This book got wrote back in February 28th. This book started back in February 2000. This book is over 10 years old. I started reading this book over 10 years ago. There's no copies of it. I mean, there's an old typed up copy. It's partially done, but I never finished it, so. Oh, and we're going to write the book up. Also, what about Hellhounds Tower? That's terminated permanently. That's terminated for a while.
What did you do? I can't get out. Later, boys. I left your car in the woods. What, are you out? This video's just the craziest thing you've ever seen.
So I'm going to Microsoft Word.
I'm blowing up a bank doing so much more. All to escape this real assassin. You want to watch this video?
So we're going to shut chapter 3 up again from the beginning.
We gotta hurry, guys. I'm gonna die that guy. There's a car somewhere in the woods we have to find.
So today, guys, we're going to just work on this, and that's it.
Pretty sure. And now we're arriving at the train station. There are hundreds of train cars in this massive area. It's going to take him forever to find me. Inside this car's backpack is not only $100,000, but also a tracker giving him my real-time location.
Okay, I found Jimmy. He seems to be stopped at like a warehouse just up ahead.
What's it look like around the warehouse?
It seems like where all the trains go.
Yeah.
How did Jimmy find an assassin for this anyway?
I found Jimmy. He didn't find me. Giving the assassin a car made him think this would be easy. But it's time for a reality check. Chris, are you in the tank? Yeah, where did we get a tank from? Don't worry about that. When the assassin and the boys are in the warehouse, destroy their car. Roger that. Over and out.
So I've seen the other guys that chased Jimmy. He's going to be ready there for us. You can point and laugh and call us nerds. Well, that ain't going to happen this time. All right, guys, we're pulling in. Get right up next to the building, and we're going to slip in that open door over there. He's so intense. There's a camera right there. Okay. Let's see. Back that way. Oh.
Chris, they're inside the warehouse. You know what to do. Roger that.
Bravo 6, calling Doc.
Destroy the car!
Here he is.
We gotta go. Come on.
Something's definitely in there.
Right here is our getaway car. Go quicker, go.
I remember you saying I won't forget the light checks.
Who talks like that?
You apparently.
Can we watch the replay?
I would love it.
This What Really Happened replay is brought to you by Progressive. One thing no one would challenge, protecting your home and auto with Progressive.
Oh, God, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Go. Oh, crap. Get out of here. Go. Woo! Was that epic? That was insane.
Score. We gotta get to the car. Let's go. Alright. Are you kidding me?
What?
They ran over our car with a tank.
I ran over your car with a thing.
Jimmy,
What up?
our car is literally a pancake right now.
You can Uber to the next location, or you can buy a new car. Up to you.
Is that our Uber? Hello. We're right behind him. Step on it. Alright guys, he's on the highway traveling east.
Oh, he's just running down that highway. He's going. Where are we?
We are far.
Oh.
Now we're at the hotel where we rented every room. So these are the room keys. I'll leave them there for the assassin. I don't need them. And while we're waiting for the assassin on the 20th floor, we have over 100 cameras monitoring every inch of the hotel.
I've seen his tracker stop here. This place is huge, probably 1 million rooms in it. Not gonna get away from us again. Alright fellas, tracker's telling me he's inside. This doesn't look right. We got room key.
Is there a doofus on the line?
You're not very stealthy. Since you just walking me, that means you're within walkie-talkie range, which means you're now in the hotel, which I didn't know you were in.
That's my bad.
I'm hiding one of over 200 rooms in this hotel. Now there's something in every room. Good luck.
I knew it.
It's fine to get up there quick and just get on as fast as possible.
Let's see this. Here we go.
What is going on in here? Nope, this ain't it, guys. He's not in here. Let's go.
Oh, they are on the 10th floor. Oh my gosh. Mr. Assassin, look up at that camera.
How about this one, Jimmy?
We still have 100 other cameras.
Jimmy! Coming in, Jimmy.
What's up, guys?
No way.
Jimmy! 18?
What floor are they on?
80.
80. Oh, wait a minute. I might need to. Get ready. Mr. Assassin. Here's the deal.
You're running out of time to win. No, you're never gonna find me without a hint.
I'll give you the exact location to be in this hotel.
If you tie up Chandler and Carl in room 1802.
Yeah, I'll talk to Scott.
Don't talk to me until you do that. I hope that didn't break, because I need to talk to you.
Oh, man.
Hey, Carl.
Yes, Jimmy.
I want you to know it's not personal.
It feels pretty personal.
Alright, let's go. He's sick, tired, I'm not gonna fight it.
I know we didn't help you much. We let Jimmy get away.
I hope you get him. Stab him good.
Little do they know, I'm literally 2 floors above them right now.
Yeah, it's nothing personal, guys. Alright, Jimmy. These guys ain't going nowhere.
Mr. Assassin, here's your hint. I'm on the 20th floor. And now that he knows where I'm at, I'm gonna try to do an average without getting stabbed. TurboTax is the #1 way to get the biggest taxes on possible. On average last year, people get over $3,000 on their tax refunds. That's a lot of money. Can you give me like 1 minute to finish this average? He didn't respond. I should probably start moving. TurboTax lets you do your taxes wherever you are, even if you're running from an assassin. Last year, TurboTax helped people get over $113 billion in tax refunds. Gotta get you up here. All right. With TurboTax, you can just help get your taxes done, right? And you're probably wondering, if there was an elevator, why didn't you take it all the way to the top? Well, because I hit it with a secret wall. Oh, that hurt. A little too good of a secret wall. Whew. Don't wait until April 18th to do your taxes. Click the link in the description and get your tax refund right now with TurboTax. Doing average while running from assassin is very stressful. Mr. Assassin. Listen to this real quick. That's my door to my getaway vehicle. Later, nerd.
Just ninja flipped out of here again.
This time we're making our exit in a Lamborghini Touring. What up? The staff is currently running down 20 flights of stairs to staff. Oh, we gotta go. You're the driver. All right, hold on.
I don't even know how we got down there so quick. Part of me wishes I still had the voice right now.
Is this your first time driving a Lamborghini? Yes. Oh my God.
We gotta get back on our ride.
We're going to the helicopter. Gonna fly us to a bank, and then we're gonna blow up the bank.
Hey, it's your skin. Help unclog my pores and prevent new acne with CeraVe Acne Control Cleanser.
Hey, stop. Let's go, 100 grand. This tracker's moving so fast. Can't believe he's in a helicopter right now.
The helicopter put me way ahead, and now the assassin has less than 3 hours to win 100 grand. It's a bank? For now it is. Oh God. Let's see if he can stab me while I'm hiding in this double reinforced steel bank. Oh.
The tracker stopped. Luckily, he didn't get too far. Now I have an opportunity to stab him before midnight and get my money.
How's it going?
Well,
We're here.
I'm in the bank vault, but I don't think you have enough time to break in. Goodbye.
bank vault. Let's do it. Bank's open late.
He just kicked down a door. I think he's literally lost his mind. Oh my God.
You in there, Jimmy?
It's Norway! You got Norway!
It worked! Mr. Assassin, there's 2 bank vaults, and you picked the wrong one.
Yeah, I saw one ball. Figured that'd be the one.
Above the bank vault you're in is another bank vault, but you didn't pick that one. You picked the easy one, and now you're trapped with Nolan.
Is that a sledgehammer?
This thing's double steel reinforced, it doesn't matter.
Really did fall for it pretty bad in this one, didn't they?
Yeah. Chris, see that hook right there? I need you to attach it there. I'm gonna attach this one here. We'll get you out of here in just a second. Get comfortable. We might move a little bit, okay? You say get comfortable? Hold on to something.
There's some activity going on right outside the door.
For one, I might actually win the challenge. The only thing standing between that safe and the road is this brick wall.
Are you telling me to rob a bank?
Yeah, actually I am. And oh my God! Oh my God! I can't believe that worked! If you're gonna rob a bank, why don't you just do it like this?
Well, I'm talking to you, Jimmy, so no.
Darn.
I can't do this. Yeah, we're not going on the highway, are we?
You have 1 hour left to win this $100,000. I'll make your transportation quick. All right, get him out of here.
Did we get lifted up into the air at some point?
Oh, and that's literally everything has gone according to my plan. I crushed his car, bamboozled him at the hotel, escaped in a Lamborghini and a helicopter, and now he's trapped in a safe with Nolan. There is less than 40 minutes left in the challenge, so we're heading to one last location, because keeping him in a bank vault kind of feels like we're cheating. For our last location, we booked a carnival! But all of this is a very expensive and elaborate distraction where I'm going to try to fake a serious injury, and see if he still stabs me. I'm going to give him one last chance. This time, face to face. The truck is now here with the safe. I'm gonna go over there and break my ankle. Alright. I've never broken a bone before. We ended the production and had the camera crew leave. The only cameras that kept rolling were hidden spy cameras from far away. There's 40 minutes left in the challenge. Let's see if he still stabs me, even though I'm hurt. I think you should let him out, Tariq. Guys, get ready, get ready. Guys. Jimmy got hurt. Really? Literally got hurt. Jimmy got hurt. No, it just hurts.
What happened?
Like what?
I just really wish I could do YouTube. I mean, people don't know this, but before I did, being back in 2013, March 8th, 2013, I wrote this back in March 8th, 2013. At the time, I had a stamp, bam. And this is when I was in that hell of path. That was that hell of school I hated. Wait, no, wait. I started in 2012 with that hell. Went there for a few years, went there for a few years, and went home. Well, doesn't matter. I dropped out of school for one particular reason. I hated that fucking bitch. That was the only reason the thing I ever got made, because of that fucking bitch. Well, the thing is, that bitch doesn't only own its YouTube channel, so it doesn't really matter. And if I do everything right, this should be done by. I'm thinking, Series 2. I should make a Series 2. There's a chapter I want to make a near chapter of. It'd be car 101 and up, because I have a couple cars over there, and a couple cars and a couple books I got around here that I really want to put in the fleet, because I didn't have any of those, which I'll put those in the fleet. Yeah, I could do that too, couldn't I? I might do that with the next chapter. I might get rid of that one chapter I worked on. Why? I don't know what chapter it would be.
Who's thirsty? I'm Mr. Beat.
I'm not gonna pee. The Emma said the beds are bit.
My beverage of choice is coffee. I drink it way too much, but it's so good. Speaking of which, I gotta go pee. BRB.
5 minutes later.
I guess I should have done that before I started filming. Anyway, last year I made a video about the favorite food of every president in American history. This will be the most important video I have ever made. Well, at the time, it was the most important video I had ever made up to that point, but this video is even more important because in this video, we're going to learn about the favorite drink of every American president in history. We're going in chronological order again, but I won't be offended if you jump ahead to check out Chester Arthur's favorite drink. Before we get into it, though, let's get two things out of the way. First of all the presidents liked to drink water. And you like to drink water, too. Why? Because you're a human being, I assume. And all human beings like to drink water, whether they're willing to admit it or not. Although your doctor told me that apparently you're not drinking enough of it, so... Second, this video is once again sponsored by...
I mostly drink water and tea, so I'm good.
I forgot to get the hat on here. This video is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. Remember the old days when we used actual printed maps when we wanted
Still
to
do.
make road trips? Now we have navigation built into our cars, for goodness sake. Things are so much easier, and things are now easier when submitting a claim when you're in an injury, thanks to Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is the largest injury law firm in the United States, with more than 100 offices nationwide and more than 800 lawyers. With over $15 billion recovered for clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy, it's more like ordering takeout than hiring a lawyer. You don't even have to get up from the couch. In fact, you can do it in 8 clicks or less. So if you're ever injured in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan by going to forthepeople.com/MrBeats or dial #529, that's pound law. Thanks to Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this video. Okay, here are the favorite beverages of every president in American history. George Washington. Our first president was a big fan of Madeira wine, a fortified wine he regularly imported from the Portuguese Madeira Islands. He also loved a spiced, brandy-based cocktail named Cherry Bounce. Those were for special occasions, though. More often than not, Washington drank beer and a dark porter. He also owned a distillery near Mount Vernon that produced whiskey, which he sold, of course. When Washington wasn't drinking alcohol, he was drinking milk, tea, and coffee.
John Adams. Adams also loved Madeira wine and apparently woke up most mornings promptly pouring himself a glass of cider, and often hard cider, meaning cider with alcohol in it. He also loved tea, but vowed to give it up during the American Revolution due to it being, quote, unpatriotic, since it was strongly associated with the British. After that, he mostly drank coffee instead. Thomas Jefferson. More than anything, Jefferson was known for loving wine. During his first term as president, he apparently got in trouble after spending more than $10,000 on wine, which is more than $200,000 in today's money. Even after his presidency, he came back to the White House to advise Presidents Madison and Monroe on the proper wine to buy for parties and stuff. Now, his favorite wines came from France, of course. He even produced his own grapes and made his own wine at his Monticello estate in Virginia, with mixed success. He also brewed his own beer. While Jefferson enjoyed imperial tea, he was more of a coffee snob. He particularly enjoyed coffee grown in the Caribbean islands and in Indonesia. And yeah, of course, he roasted his own beans. James Madison. Madison drank coffee and tea, but didn't drink alcohol that much since he got hangovers pretty easily. When he did drink alcohol, he drank whiskey and champagne. James Monroe. Monroe also loved champagne and most French and Spanish red wines. He definitely partied from time to time, especially as a younger man. He sometimes would go, quote, on quite a flight, as they called it in those days. Today we call that on a bender. His favorite drink, called Chatham Artillery Punch, mixed tea, wine, rum, rye whiskey, brandy, gin, champagne, and a bunch of other sweet stuff. Ugh, actually, doesn't sound too good. Oh, and apparently Monroe got into some trouble while he was president for buying 1,200 bottles of French wine with money that was supposed to be spent on furniture. Oops. John Quincy Adams. Like father, like son. JQ also loved Madeira wine and cider, like his dad, John Adams. He also was a regular coffee and tea drinker. Andrew Jackson. Whiskey. Just, whiskey. Like Washington, Jackson also distilled whiskey at one point. In 1799, his distillery burned down, destroying 300 gallons of whiskey. After still having to pay an excise tax on whiskey, he asked Congress to refund the tax he had paid. Congress politely denied his request. When Jackson wasn't drinking whiskey, he was drinking coffee. Martin Van Buren. Van Buren also loved whiskey. In fact, he drank so much whiskey that people nicknamed him Blue Whiskey Van. Apparently, Van Buren also drank buttermilk. Yeah. If you don't know what buttermilk is, it traditionally has been the liquid left behind after churning butter out of cultured cream. Yummy. William Henry Harrison. Like John Adams, Harrison loved hard cider. After Harrison's political opponents talked trash about him drinking too much of it, as he ran for president in 1840, the Whigs embraced the accusation, making it part of his campaign with the slogan, log cabin and hard cider, to make it seem like Harrison was a man of the people. John Tyler. Tyler began every day with tea and milk, which he drank from a very large cup. He also enjoyed coffee and champagne. James Polk. Polk also loved champagne and drank a bit of brandy and wine. Caffeine was more of his drug than alcohol, though. He began every day with coffee and often drank it all day long. Zachary Taylor. Well, we know he liked milk. Some speculate Taylor may have died while in office after drinking iced milk that contained bacteria. As a matter of fact, like Jackson and Van Buren, he also loved his whiskey. Millard Fillmore. Fillmore enjoyed tea, specifically oolong tea, which traditionally comes from China. He didn't drink alcohol that much, but when he did, it was usually
I smoke weed.
Yeah. This next president, unfortunately, did drink alcohol too much. Franklin Pierce. If it had alcohol in it, he probably drank it. He reportedly began every morning with a glass of cognac. After Pierce lost re-election as president, he allegedly said, quote, "There's nothing left to do but get drunk." He suffered from alcoholism for much of his adult life and died of cirrhosis of the liver at 65 due to his excessive drinking. James Buchanan. Buchanan took his coffee black and strong and drank it pretty much every day. Similar to Washington and both John and John Quincy Adams, he loved Madeira wine. He also occasionally drank champagne, whiskey, and sherry. And finally, we get to our first teetotaler. Abraham Lincoln. A teetotaler is someone who never drinks alcohol, and Lincoln was practically a teetotaler. I say, quote, practically, because he did occasionally enjoy a glass of wine. But hey, in the mid-1800s,
Chapter 4.
drinking just one glass of wine per month was basically considered being a teetotaler, since alcohol consumption was so common at the time in the United States. Lincoln also loved coffee quite a bit. Andrew Johnson. Johnson also may have owned or was at least involved with a distillery in Greenville, Tennessee that produced brandy. Johnson's personal drink of choice was whiskey. Infamously, Johnson drank a bit too much alcohol, you could say, at his inauguration ceremony, giving an incoherent speech and making a fool out of himself. Ulysses Grant. Unfortunately, Grant was also a heavy drinker of alcohol and, like Pierce, struggled with alcoholism for most of his adult life. That said, it didn't take much alcohol for him to get drunk, which is probably why so many people knew about his drinking. His favorite drink was, surprisingly, champagne. At one White House party he hosted while president, he spent $1,800 on champagne alone. Yeah, that's more than $45,000 in today's money. When Grant wasn't drinking alcohol, he was drinking lemonade. In his memoirs, he noted that he often enjoyed lemonade on horseback, as it helped him cool down after long rides. Well, guess who also loved lemonade? Rutherford Hayes. There was always a pitcher of lemonade at his desk, especially once it got warm outside, and he was a legit teetotaler, never drinking alcohol. He even was a big supporter of the temperance movement that sought to ban the sale and consumption of alcohol. It helped that his wife, Lucy, was even more of a teetotaler than Rutherford was. In fact, she was an enforcer of sorts, making sure no alcohol ever entered the White House while he was president, because lemonade was there instead. That's how she got the nickname Lemonade Lucy. James Garfield. Garfield also supported the temperance movement, but still enjoyed beer from time to time.
I like beer. I like beer.
The older he got, the less he drank of it, though. He also was a big fan of milk with breakfast. Whoa, 2 presidents in a row who wanted to ban alcohol? Impressive. Yeah, that streak quickly ended with the next president, Chester Arthur. When temperance movement activists tried to get him to ban alcohol at the White House, he was like, no. He enjoyed wine and brandy from time to time, as well as coffee and tea. Grover Cleveland. Beer. Lots of beer.
I like beer. I like beer.
If Cleveland was on the old sitcom Cheers, he'd be Norm Peterson. He was always hanging out at the bar with friends, drinking beers, especially as a younger man. At one point in his life, he realized he had been drinking too much, to a point where it was negatively affecting his health. From that point forward, he vowed he would only drink 4 beers a day. Wait, only 4 beers a day? After realizing how difficult that was, he switched to bigger beer mugs. Benjamin Harrison. Even though he may have been lactose intolerant, Harrison loved milk. And that's basically it. Harrison had a strict diet and avoided drinking anything crazy, including alcohol. Yep, another teetotaler. Good job, Harrison. He apparently also liked, quote, hot, clear soup, which apparently was just hot tea. William McKinley. McKinley liked rye whiskey And there was even a popular drink associated with his presidential campaign called McKinley's Delight, a cocktail that featured rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, cherry brandy, and a dash of absinthe. There's also some evidence that McKinley may have enjoyed grape juice. Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt liked coffee pretty much more than any other president. Supposedly, he drank up to a gallon of coffee every day, which certainly fits his larger-than-life image. And it's always made sense to me since the dude was always so full of energy that he also liked to drink an alcoholic cocktail named Mint Julep. He even used fresh mint from the White House garden to put in it. Members of his cabinet loved mint julep, and he used the drink to convince them to come over and play tennis. William Taft. Taft also enjoyed coffee. He didn't drink alcohol that much, but when he did, it was often champagne. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson preferred alcohol over caffeine. He loved scotch and whiskey. In fact, his presidential campaign song was Wilson, That's All, which basically ripped off a popular ad slogan from a whiskey company called Wilson Whiskey. Wilson also loved to drink orange juice and often served it at the White House. By the time Woodrow Wilson was out of office, Wilson, Prohibition was in full effect. But that didn't stop presidents from drinking alcohol. Oh no, Warren Harding. Even though Harding was president during Prohibition, he regularly snuck whiskey around, man, even in his golf bag, which explains why his golf game wasn't that good. He also was really into cocktails. His favorite drink was a gin Ricky, which is made with gin, lime juice, and soda water, although he often mixed it with orange juice. Calvin Coolidge. Coolidge loved apple cider. He often made cider from his own apple orchard. He didn't drink much alcohol, but when he did, it was usually either Tokay wine or a martini. He also drank coffee. Herbert Hoover. Before Prohibition, Hoover loved to drink wine. Hoover legit apparently didn't drink alcohol at all during Prohibition. This may have something to do with the fact that his wife, Lou, may have made him dump out all of his wine once Prohibition went into effect. After Prohibition ended, Hoover often liked to drink martinis. Franklin Roosevelt. Like his distant cousin, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR loved coffee. He loved a good dark roast, even having his staff roast the beans in the White House kitchen and personally supervising the whole process. During World War II, when the federal government required that Americans ration their coffee beans, FDR did his part by reusing old coffee grounds to brew new coffee. Yeah, by all accounts, the coffee tasted like crap. FDR also loved cocktails. His favorite one was the Bermuda Rum Swizzle, or Rizzle. Harry Truman. While most modern presidents began each day with a nice cup of coffee, Truman often began each day with a shot of bourbon, his favorite alcoholic drink. Just like Van Buren, Truman loved to drink buttermilk. He reportedly once said, quote, "If you want to get along with me, give me buttermilk." Truman also loved coffee and lemonade. Dwight Eisenhower. Ike loved coffee, often drinking way too much of it during World War II, which, I mean, makes sense, considering the fact that he did not sleep very much during the war. Eisenhower also loved drinking scotch. After he had a heart attack when he was president, his doctor understandably told him to stop drinking alcohol. But scotch was the one alcoholic drink he kept sneakily drinking anyway. Eisenhower also enjoyed drinking, believe it or not, vegetable juice. John Kennedy. JFK enjoyed a little bit of everything, specifically coffee, tea, beer, lemonade, and even coconut water. His favorite alcoholic drink was a Bloody Mary, a cocktail that mixes vodka with tomato juice. Next up, we finally have a president who enjoyed soda. Lyndon Johnson. LBJ apparently drank Frescas all the time. He often mixed clear soda with scotch as well. He famously enjoyed drinking scotch out of either a plastic or styrofoam cup. Classy, Lyndon. He also famously had a set of 4 buttons installed in the Oval Office to order his favorite beverages. The buttons were located on a panel right next to his desk. One was for coffee, one was for tea, one was for Fresca, and one was for a specially made drink that mixed grapefruit juice and soda water that Johnson called Johnson. Creative there, Lyndon. Richard Nixon. There is quite a bit of evidence that Nixon enjoyed milk as well as coffee. He also enjoyed red wine. Apparently, he would regularly enjoy really expensive red wine, like bottles of wine that cost hundreds of dollars in today's money. Meanwhile, when guests came over to the White House, he'd serve them with cheap red wine, instructing his staff to serve the wine to them with the bottle label covered up so they didn't know the wine they were getting was mediocre. See, that Tricky Dick nickname really does fit him well, doesn't it? Gerald Ford. Ford drank tea and orange juice pretty much every day. He also often had a martini or 2 or 3 at lunch. Jimmy Carter. Carter's favorite drinks are lemonade and coffee. He has never drank that much alcohol, but when he has, it's usually been white wine. He actually used to make wine, once growing about 15 acres of grapes at his home in Georgia. Ronald Reagan.
Take a break,
Reagan
shut down.
also loved coffee and orange juice, which he drank pretty much every morning. He also loved red wine.
Red wine.
Bush Sr. loved coffee, but eventually switched to decaf as he got older. He also liked Diet Coke, beer, and vodka. Bill
I don't like Diet Coke, which is surprising.
Coffee, of course, is Clinton's favorite beverage, but he also digs iced tea and at least used to drink soda, especially Diet Coke. His favorite alcoholic drink was a snake bite, which is a mix of hard cider and lager beer. George W. Bush. Well, it used to be Miller Lite. Bush Jr. famously used to drink alcohol.
I got something to do right now, guys. I'll be back in a minute.
But after he turned 40, he pretty much quit drinking it altogether. After he quit alcohol, his #1 drink of choice was, you guessed it, Diet Coke.
Wow.
Hey, are you noticing a pattern?